Good day, class. This is your teacher in English 7, Ma'am Lesa C. Bacason. And now we'll be discussing discovering the conflict presented in literary selections and need to resolve those conflicts in non-violent ways. Before we start, let us have the opening prayer. Let us pray. Our loving Father, we praise and glorify your name each day. We thank you for all the blessings, especially the gift of life you showered us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to learn in this time of global pandemic. Bless our classmates, teachers, and school that we may bring hope to our community. We humbly ask for your forgiveness to all our shortcomings and help us to be a better person. Grant us wisdom, peace of mind, and a pure heart to be a blessing to other people. Father, we are grateful that you are true to your word, that you are with us and will not leave us. May you continue to bless us with your grace and love. We ask all these through Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen. And now, let us check the attendance. I am glad that everybody is present today. Now, how are you, class? I hope you're fine. Today, we are learning a new lesson. What are the things that you need to learn for today? At the end of the lesson, you will: Number 1, determine what conflict is and its types. Appreciate the reason for resolving conflict in a non-violent way. Determine the conflicts in a selection and resolve those conflicts in non-violent ways. Before we proceed to our lesson for today, let us watch a funny animated video about the animals crossing a bridge. Kindly watch closely, dear students. What can you say about the video? Could you tell me the characters there? Okay, very good. So we have the moose, the bear, the raccoon and the bunny. What are they doing? They are crossing the bridge. Very good. Which is the better way to solve the problem? The way of the bear and moose or the solution of the rabbit and raccoon? Could I explain it? Okay, so it is the solution of the rabbit and raccoon. Why? Because the bear and the moose disagree on who between them will cross first. That's why the rabbit and raccoon caught the rope in the bridge. How about the rabbit and raccoon? Okay, very good. The rabbit and raccoon found a way to solve the problem. The rabbit hopped over the raccoon so that both of them could cross the bridge at the same time. What do you call to the problem that arose among the characters? An idea? Okay, very good. So that is conflict. Now, what is a conflict? Later, you'll know what a conflict is through another YouTube video. But for the meantime, you will be an arbitrator for today. What is an arbitrator? It is someone who is responsible to resolve conflicts between and among people. Again, everybody say arbitrator. Again, arbitrator. So now, this is a YouTube video about conflict.
Today, we're going to talk about conflict in literature. Every story has a conflict. A conflict is a struggle between two opposing forces. There are two kinds of conflicts. There's an external conflict. These take place outside the body, and it's between the character and an outside force. And there are also internal conflicts. These take place inside the character. It's a struggle within the character himself or herself. There are three different types of external conflicts that you need to know right now. Let's take a look at each one. The first type of external conflict is character versus character. This type of conflict occurs when one character has a problem with another character in the story. Kind of like Mike here has a problem with Rachel having a higher score in Candy Crush than he does. Or character versus character could be between many characters. So Mike has his hands full with these 5 people going against him. The second type of external conflict is character versus nature. And I'm sure you can relate to this if you've ever dealt with a Syracuse winter. This type of conflict pits the character against a natural force, like a blizzard, a predatory animal, or a contagious disease. And hopefully, not all three at once, like what's happening to Mike here. If you know the movie Jaws, then you've definitely seen character versus nature conflicts before. The final type of external conflict is character versus society. This type of conflict happens when the character has a problem with the society in which they live, including laws or the beliefs of groups. And Mike here thinks these new laws stink. Remember this book series? Throughout the novels, and especially in books 2 and 3, there is a character versus society conflict, where the characters try to put a stop to the corrupt capital's rules over Panem. Now that we've learned about 3 types of external conflicts, let's focus on the one type of internal conflict. Internal conflict happens within the character's mind. Mike here is pretty sad. This is a conflict that you can't truly see on the outside. So while we know that Mike looks sad, we don't know what is making him sad or what his conflict is really about. Internal conflict is expressed as character versus self, where the character struggles with a decision or with his or her own identity. Insert Ponyboy Curtis. So while yes, he had a conflict with the Socs, and yes, he had a problem with people judging him for being a greaser, can you spot another conflict that he might have experienced? Yes, he also struggled to figure out his own identity throughout the book. That makes the conflict an internal, character versus self conflict. Good work. So now let's review. Every story has a conflict. There's an external conflict that occurs outside the character, and there are internal conflicts that happen within the character. There are three types of external conflicts: character versus character, character versus nature, and character versus society. There's only one type of internal conflict. Sad Mike here is going to tell you it's character versus self.
Did you enjoy watching the video? It is informative yet fun at the same time. Now let us discuss each type of conflict. Let us elaborate. The first type of conflict is man versus man, wherein the central character faces opposition from another person or group of people. It is a struggle from an outside force. For man versus man, there is an argument. It could be a fight or just an argument between and among people. So for example, a couple is arguing about a family matter. This is man versus man because the couple is having an argument. They are having a disagreement. Another example of man versus man is when there are two people fighting. It could be a fist fight or just physical fight. So when there is misunderstanding or disagreement, that is man versus man. The second type of conflict is man versus self. The main character faces an internal struggle in himself or herself. So he or she is thinking about something, whether to do something or not. In this type of conflict, the character is confused or having self-doubt about himself or herself, or he or she is caught between doing something good or bad. For example, Chloe cannot decide if she will enroll in a swimming lesson or taekwondo. This is man versus self because Chloe, the character, finds it difficult to choose between swimming or taekwondo. So there is an internal struggle. She finds it difficult to decide. So another type of internal conflict is when the character is having self-doubt. He or she is doubting himself or herself, or doing something good or bad. So he or she finds it difficult to decide, and the struggle is internal. The next type of external conflict is man versus society. The central character or group of characters battles against beliefs, traditions, or laws. Let us have an example. Rosie protests with their barangay officials because of the improper waste disposal in their community. This is man versus society because Rosie, the main character, is against the ways of the people in her community. Another example of man versus society is when someone breaks the law. For example, a man is arrested for robbery, so that is man versus society. The last type of conflict is man versus nature. The main character, either alone or with other characters in the story, is in direct opposite to the forces of nature. It could be that there is a typhoon, a volcanic eruption, an earthquake, flood, or other natural calamity. So that is man versus nature. Let us have an example. Carl is about to go to Cebu, but there's a super typhoon approaching. So Carl's flight is delayed because of the super typhoon. So another one is when a person is struck by lightning. So that is man. Let us proceed on how to resolve a conflict. First one is identify the problem or conflict, then give a positive solution to the problem or conflict, then solve the conflict in a non-violent way. Again, in a non-violent way or positive way, without inflicting pain or without proceeding to an argument. So that is how to further understand how to resolve a conflict. Let us have the conflict resolution song.
When we get in a fight, we each think we are right. We have to sort it out and find a way to listen to each other, understand one another. We can work together to make it okay. I need to tell you how I feel, you need to tell me how you feel. Then we'll take a walk in one another's shoes. We gotta compromise instead of taking sides. Then neither of us has to lose. This is a conflict resolution song. We will use it to get along and live together in harmony. When you're in a conflict, stop first and think, then follow these steps to solve it peacefully. Step 1, take a deep breath to calm down. Step 2, communicate and talk it out. Step 3, compromise. You each have to give to get a solution you can both live with. Step 1, cool down, take a deep breath. You can't solve a problem when you're so upset. Step 2, talk and listen to the opposition. What do they want? What do you want? Take a walk in each other's shoes. Understand what the other has to lose. Step 3, compromise. It's give and take. We each give a little for the other's sake. And at the end of the day, we can walk away knowing that we solved the problem peacefully, so we can live in harmony.
Time to answer these activities. Show me the problem. Identify the type of conflict used in the following statements. Refer from these gestures. Man versus man. Put your fist in punching position. For man versus self, do the thinking gesture. For man versus society, cross your arms. And man versus nature, put your hand on your mouth as if you are shocked. So those are the gestures that you should do to identify the conflict or type of conflict. Are you ready? So let us have the first one. Jane got mad at Claire for getting her pen without permission. What is that? Is it A, man versus man, B, man versus self, C, man versus society, or D, man versus nature? Let us have the answer. So that is man versus man. You're correct. That is man versus man. So what you're going to do is to show me the punching position. Very good. For number 2, Tom went to the mall to buy new shoes. He cannot decide which to buy between the white shoes or the red shoes. So again, is it man versus man, B, man versus self, C, man versus society, or D, man versus nature? So what is the answer? Alright, so that is man versus self. So what is the gesture that you need that I need to see? Okay, so that is the thinking position for man versus self. Number 3, Mr. Soriano is almost late for his job, so he beats the red light while driving. Is it man versus man, B, man versus self, C, man versus society, or D, man versus nature? What is your answer? So that is C, man versus society. It's because Mr. Soriano breaks the law. So that is letter C, man versus society. So what is the gesture? Alright, so that is the cross arms. For number 4, Kate wants to visit her friend in Bicol, but according to the news, Mayon volcano erupted. So is it that man versus man, B, man versus self, C, man versus society, or D, man versus nature? Alright, so that is... Okay, you got it. So that is D, man versus nature. Why is that? It's because there is a volcanic eruption, and that is a natural calamity. Man versus nature. Number 5. Bea and Ellie disagreed about the milk tea flavor that they will order because they said that they should have the same flavor being best friends. Is it A, man versus man, B, man versus self, C, man versus society, or D, man versus nature? So what do you think is the answer? Okay, so that is man versus man because Bea and Ellie have different preference when it comes to the flavor of milk tea. So that is man versus man. Okay, very good, class. You got the correct answers and you now know how to identify the conflict and the type of the conflict. Now it's time to apply what you've learned in real life. So let's have the activity #vlogger problem solver. The country experiences a lot of problems nowadays. Now the class will be divided into 5 groups. Choose an existing problem in the country, particularly in your community. Then think of a non-violent way on how to solve this conflict. Present this in a 5-minute TikTok video. Make sure to be creative in your presentation. You may do it through a role-playing, a song, a dance interpretation, a poster, a news reporting, or in any way that the group will agree upon. Be guided by this following rubric. To summarize our lesson for today, let us sing all together the conflict resolution song.
When we get in a fight, we each think we are right. We have to sort it out and find a way to listen to each other, understand one another. We can work together to make it okay. I need to tell you how I feel. You need to tell me how you feel. Then we'll take a walk in one another's shoes. We gotta compromise instead of taking sides. Then neither of us has to lose. This is a conflict resolution song. We will use it to get along and live together in harmony. When you're in a conflict, stop first and think, then follow these steps to solve it peacefully. Step 1, take a deep breath to calm down. Step 2, communicate and talk it out. Step 3, compromise. You each have to give to get a solution you can both live with. Step 1, cool down, take a deep breath. You can't solve a problem when you're so upset. Step 2, talk and listen to the opposition. What do they want? What do you want? Take a walk in each other's shoes. Understand what the other has to lose. Step 3, compromise. It's give and take. We each give a little for the other's sake. And at the end of the day, we can walk away knowing that we solved the problem peacefully, so we can live in harmony.
Now let us assess if you really learned the lesson or not through this activity. Oh no. For the directions, on a one-whole sheet of paper, determine the conflict in each selection and give a non-violent solution. For first situation, Travis and Drake are friends. They are also good basketball players. One day, they have a basketball match in the covered court in Batya. Drake's team wins over Travis's. The latter gets mad and they fight because he cannot accept the result of the game. What is the conflict in the first situation? Now what is the solution? You find out. For the second situation, Max is a problem student. He gets failing grades in most of his subjects. He cuts classes, does not do activities and projects, and does not participate in his classes. Worse, he disrespects his teachers. Upon knowing these, his parents get upset and ask him to stop studying. He feels regretful because he wants to continue his studies. What is the conflict? And what is the non-violent solution? For the third situation, Amy and Chloe are best of friends. They are always together, and treat each other as sisters. One afternoon, Chloe hears from her classmates that Amy spreads rumor about her. Chloe gets mad and confronts Amy. The latter tries to explain that the gossip is not true, but Chloe just ignores her. Instead, she slaps her face. Amy cries and walks away. What is the conflict in this situation? Now, what is the solution? Now, it's time to answer the activity, Oh No. For our first situation, could you get rid of conflict? Alright, Drake cannot accept that Travis's team defeated his team. Now, what do you think is the solution? An idea? The solution is Drake should show sportsmanship and accept that Travis's team won. They may have a rematch. For our second situation, so what do you think is the conflict? Okay, Max is a problem student. That's why his parents ask him to stop studying. Now, what is the solution? He should change his bad behavior by apologizing to his parents and teachers and accomplishing his task in school for him to pass his subjects. More so, for his parents to give him a second chance to continue studying. Last but not the least, our third situation is Chloe does not believe her best friend Amy that the latter does not spread rumor about her. Now, what is the solution? Chloe should listen to Amy's explanation and accept her forgiveness for them to reconcile. Did you get the correct answers, class? If yes, that is very good. You now know how to identify a conflict and give a non-violent solution. Now, did you remember other topics in English that is related to our topic for today? Alright, very good. That is sentence construction, because you now know how to construct sentences in giving the conflict and giving the non-violent solution. How about the other subjects where we can relate our topic? Okay, very good. That is in math. It's because in math, in every problem, there is a solution. How about the others? Okay, that's right. In values education, it's because when there is a problem or there is a conflict, we need to talk about it. We need to understand the situation, and we should not react right away. We should not be angry. We should deal with a problem or conflict in a non-violent way. Do you have questions regarding our topic for today, class? If none, here is an additional activity entitled, I Did It. In 10-15 sentences, write a short narrative of your personal problem that you have solved in a positive or non-violent ways. The problem can be in school, at home, or in your community. In accomplishing your task, please be guided with this rubric. Alright, so that is our topic for today. This has been your teacher in English 7, Ma'am Leslie C. Bakason. Let's call today class. Thank you so much, and may God bless us all.